I agree with that.
Right. So generally speaking, these are the kind of regulations we need eliminated because it's all like the regulators, basically the people who pass these rules are paid for by the industries that are regulating them. So it's all crony capitalism that's going on, and we all pay it. Like I can tell you, like for example, and during the Obama administration, they passed this rule, the FDA, and again in this infinite wisdom, passed this rule that said for doctors you can only use hyperbarics for specifically for treating the bends and what I think is one other exception, right? There was no such rule existed before. So now so they codified it. So now if you're a doctor and if in your opinion, you want to prescribe hyperbarics to a patient because it might help, you can't do it because you could lose your license because you'd be violating the FDA rule, right? So, and the reason I know this is because I know somebody who's a nephrologist. He's a kidney transplant nephrologist, and he's like, I cannot. He's like, in my experience, hyperbarics like 10 times increases the effectiveness of the transplant. Okay, but I can't prescribe it ever. Right. So patients are dying because of the FDA. People are dying. People are suffering because of the FDA. So what do you think about it? Do you agree with me? Are people suffering because of the FDA? Do we need RFK in there to clean out that mess? Do we need to drain the swamp?
That's a good question. I am not going to comment on it.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I think, everything it's not black and white. I think there are definitely shades of gray everywhere. I think, yes, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. But I think if you look at the larger, the larger picture, I think overall, the FDA regulations that are in place, the checks that are in place, they're in there for a reason. And I think, like I said, it's not all black and white. But I'm not going to go beyond that. I'm still a practicing physician.
I'll tell you something that's clearly black. So my kid was born, Chris, you met him, my son. He's 10 years old now. He was born in 2014. And he had stomach allergy. So he had the only milk formula he could drink was called Alimentum. All right. And we tried breastfeeding, but there was other problems, and so we couldn't that didn't work. So we had to be on formula. And there's one particular very expensive formula called Alimentum that he could only take. Right? And it's made by one company. There's only one factory in the country called, the company's called Abbott. Now, thank God he was born in 2014, right, and not in 2021 under the Biden administration, because those morons, right, my kid would have been in so much trouble. Well, probably not, because I would have just bought the formula from Europe anyways. So I have the money. I could just flown to Europe and bought the formula, okay, and brought it at home. But so what the people that suffered were poor people with children, because those morons in the FDA, they found a bacteria outside of the factory, and they shut down the whole factory, and there was a shortage of baby formulas all over the country. And the people who suffered are the people who couldn't afford it, because they were selling in the black markets for like 10, 20 times what it cost, right? And I don't know how many babies lost their lives or starved or whatever, right? So, this we need to drain this stupid swamp. This is insane.
Yeah, I think sometimes things become unnecessarily complicated. And I think that's what Angel AI is trying to do, is simplify things without having too many middlemen in the line and simplify finances for people. So
let's get off this topic. What is it you're saying?
No, I'm just saying that. No, I think it is about simplifying things for people. Sometimes things become overly complicated, just as is the finance industry. And I want you to talk about Angel AI and what it's really delivering to the people, and then we'll go into how should people who are actually starting on this journey of entrepreneurship, what do you think is the right mindset to have around that with respect to what their past experiences and how they think of new things?
Yeah. So again, like I said, you before you start don't go into entrepreneurship, don't go start a business just because you want you want to make a lot of money, right? I mean, look, the reality is if you want to make a lot of money, you have to be an entrepreneur. Right? It's like unless you run a business and you can scale, and you figure out a methodology to scale and touch a lot of customers, or in some form. Whether if let's say, like I know a friend of mine, it's just a two-man show, and he makes hundreds of millions of dollars, but he developed an algorithm for trading. Okay, and he makes and he makes a ton of money, just him and his partner, running their algorithm on their supercomputers, right? And we're thinking in trading and AI trading the market. So that's a form of entrepreneurship that works. But most people will be running a bread and butter business. By that I mean a business that, whether it's making this cup or making this baseball. Now you know what I keep on my table. So you're gonna make a product that many people will buy, and you make a penny on each product, and you sell a lot of them, and then you end up making a lot of money, right? So, but before you do that, before you go down on that road, you have to have a why. Why am I really doing this? It isn't to make a lot of money. There has to be a reason. You have to have a passion, right? And you have to feel it within you, like yeah, this is God's will. This is why I'm here on this planet. Okay, and when you start with that basis, then you will get there. And then guess what? The hardest thing you're going to do ever in life is be an entrepreneur, because every day you're going to be tested. You have to be prepared to go outside of your boundaries, right? You have to be prepared to be challenged. Like for example, if you're working a W-2 job, right? Everything's kind of preset for you. You go to work. The employer has policies and procedures. It's well defined. You stay in your lane, right? You complete the boxes, and then you go home, right? But when you're an entrepreneur, you write the policies and procedures, and you have to write policies and procedures for marketing, for sales, for engineering, for distribution, for the shipping department, everything, right? And whereas previously you may have only been in one lane, which may have been engineering or product development or something. Now you have to be a generalist. You have to learn all of these things. And either you're writing themselves or you're hiring people to write those and develop those. And you have to have a high degree of common sense to say, hey, you may not be an expert in marketing, but you have to have a high degree of common sense to understand that the expert that you hired in marketing is telling you the right thing. And here's the other thing that you're going to run into when you run a business and you hire people, right? Just like when I was talking about earlier, how there's all these people in the middle who only think about themselves and not necessarily the end product. Well, guess what? The same thing happens with the people you hire. The hardest thing you'll ever do is build a team around you that truly cares and is aligned with your mission, right? And has put the priority of the mission above themselves. Because you, as an entrepreneur, right, you have put the priority of your mission above yourself, and you're going to be spending your own money, and you'll be negative in the beginning or it could be for a long time. You'll be negative in terms of how much you're making per hour. Okay, that's going to be a negative cash flow, right? And you're investing in your mission, and you need people around you who are also ready to make that kind of commitment. And if they're not ready to make that commitment, get rid of them, right? Be quick on firing people. I mean, it's just like, it doesn't, when you fire someone, it doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means they're not aligned with your mission, right? And you can't ever tell that. When you interview, you could do the best you can. They could have the right resume. They know what they're talking about. You do your best to filter out, make sure it's a match, make sure that they're aligned, but you don't really know, right? You don't really know until the rubber hits the road, right? And if it's not feeling right, don't even look for. You just go trust your instinct, trust your gut. If things, and that's just whether it's the people around you, whether it's the business partners or anything, you don't try to use logic because there's too many unknowns and there's too much deception. Right?
That's true.
Your business partners, your employees, your whatever they're all Adam Smith economics, right? It's the foundation of the Western civilization, right? Is everyone's acting in their own self-interest, right? And this is what is ingrained into our culture. Right. So if everyone's acting in their own self-interest, you have to assume that includes deception to optimize your own profits. Right?
That's true. That is true.
Right? So deception, not necessarily fraud, but deception. Right. Legal definition of fraud versus deception. The legal definition of fraud is very tight. Ethical deception is broad, but it's still legal, but it's still ethical. But unethical, I meant. Unethical deception is a broad envelope, right?
Right.
Okay, which is not legally fraud, but it's not necessarily something you should do. So all the actors that you interact with, they're working toward maximizing their own self interest, what's good for them, right? So you have to figure out who those people are, right? And be aware, avoid the kind of pop culture terminology that's out there, because all that pop culture terminology is intended to confuse you. And for example, loyalty. People will say oh, you need loyal people around you, or well, what does that mean? Does anybody stop and ask what does it mean to have loyal people around you, right? Right? That, or some other people say, well, you know what, you don't want to sacrifice ability for loyalty. Okay, well, what does that mean? Right? So at the end of the day, loyalty to me means that you have people who are aligned and are pulling in the same direction, that they believe in the mission and they will crawl over broken glass to achieve that end goal. And those are the only people you should ever be surrounded by. And if you don't find those people, right, don't just go forward just because, well, I need to go forward and I'm going to compromise and work with somebody who may not be aligned. But we'll get it done somehow. Right?
Yeah.
I've seen those situations blow up. You get, it's one of those things where you get some short-term gain, right? But long-term pain. It's like athletes using steroids, right? You get short-term gain, but you're dead of cancer by the time you're 50, right?
Yeah, I mean it's basically what is common knowledge is hire slow, fire fast, and I mean in my entrepreneurial journey, I think I can completely resonate with what you're saying. It is you need a lot of strength, emotional. To go through this. There are significant ups and downs. In fact, I was just talking to a friend of mine and we were exchanging notes on how, 3 months ago, I was almost ready to quit on my journey. And then, I had a word with him. He said, no, just hold on, go on for a few more weeks, few more months, take one day at a time. And it is difficult, but, we work for that bigger vision and that bigger mission, and it keeps you going. And you need people who are aligned on that mission. Just like you said, we've had, in my team, we've had people, we've had to, take them out of the team because they were not aligned, they were not performing with the mission in mind. And so I completely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. And just don't be afraid. If you, sometimes I see managers, leaders be like, well, I mean, what am I going to do if I lose this person? Right? And they compromise. And I say, no, it's like you're going to do better. End of story.
And that's what we felt. That's actually true, guys. So we had I distinctly remember, if I can, tell a brief story. We had somebody on our team we were working with, and really what was happening was that person had a particular job. We were on the multifamily side, and that person had a very particular job that we wanted that person to deliver on, but they were not able to deliver, and we kind of, kept pushing them, but it wasn't happening. The moment we separated, because our fear was that if this person goes, who's going to do this? What's going to happen? And the moment that person left, our curve actually accelerated, and there was a big upswing in our journey the moment that person left, even though we were short one person. So I completely understand that, the wrong person can actually slow you down. You can actually sometimes move faster, even with a smaller team, if they're all aligned in the same direction.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite saying is you can't convert a donkey to a thoroughbred. It's not going to happen.
No, that's true. That is very true. So, Pawan, in your journey, I'm sure you would have had some challenges as well, just like any entrepreneur does. What kept you going through through this process? Angel AI, I know we were talking, you were mentioning that around, I think 2017 or 2018 is when actually Angel AI was, the neural network was kind of born, and all of this thing started. But what, if you can share some roadblocks that you kind of face in your journey, and what made you keep going?
Well, it's what my dad taught me, and since I was a kid, I mean, he just drilled it into me that you can do anything. Like, don't listen to anybody. Like, he understood this basic fact that most people are corrupted. 99.9% of the people you'll meet in the world, that whether you as partners or as associates or as employees, have been corrupted by pop culture, and they don't want to see anyone else succeed, right? And instead of people, if you just look at the education system and look at what's taught in college and high school, is they don't teach you to be entrepreneurs. They don't teach you to say, hey, if you want to do something, go do it. Right? They teach you to stay in your lane. They teach you to be a bureaucrat. They teach you to be an underperformer. Right? And it literally starts from preschool. And my father knew this. I mean, he knew, and he saw how the system worked, and he knew what was being, what the culture is and what's being taught. And so he would tell me, like, constantly, like there's nothing you can't do. Right? And always he said, look at what we've done, right? From nothing to, under 10 years. And if you look at what we did in the last 10 years, imagine what you're going to do in your life. Right? So it was this. I had a good role model, and who basically, because of that is where we get our brand is nothing is beyond reach. Angel AI, nothing is beyond reach. So we're trying to teach the rest of the world, undo the effect of this toxic pop culture and education system, and tell everyone that, look, you're unlimited. Nothing is beyond reach. Forget all the limitations that have been imposed on you. Forget everything that whoever may have told you that you can't do this, or you're only as capable as XYZ. Like, for example, I still remember, I went to high school in the 80s. And I remember the teachers would tell the students, right, oh, well, you're not smart enough to be in the advanced math class, so why don't you just stick to this one? Right.
Wow.
And the kids would be like, okay, I guess I'm not. I mean, they literally sucked the life out of kids. Right? The teachers talk to kids as whether you're smart enough or not.
Wow.
And that's and it was it was a decent suburban high school. It was a public school, but Cerritos, I think right now is considered one of the top school districts in the country, at least as far as test scores are concerned. But I can imagine what teachers are telling kids in the inner city. If they're saying that in an upper middle class, suburban high school and grammar school, imagine what they're saying in the inner city.
Right.
So the whole system is designed, to, if you have original thought, it slaps you in the face, right? If you believe you can achieve it, it's going to slap you in the face, right?
Right.
Because
right.
Ultimately, if look, the elites out there, right? They don't want more competition. They don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to build your own businesses, right? That's all competition for them.
That's true. Did you ever feel pressure internally, like seeing your parents succeed, having that a massive real estate portfolio and then a lending business? Did that ever create that kind of a feeling of, okay, I need to do something big enough or better than this?
No, no. The short answer is no, because that'd be like feeling competitive with my parents, and that's kind of bizarre. I mean, I guess how that could kind of arise, if it was more of, it was more of, I felt fortunate that I had that education around me, that I had that inspiration around me, right? And again, that's really ultimately, my why isn't simply, hey, we're going to get money, lending products, financial products over to people who need it the most. That's only a small part of my why. The real why is that the stuff, the culture that I had, the inspiration that I had, okay, and the access to knowledge that I had, I want everyone to have that. Okay, so for whatever reason, right, luck, some people can call it luck, some people call it God's will, things fell in the way they fell for me, right? So I believe that, okay, well, I'm not here to just, anything that I have, anything quote unquote that I own, right? Anything that I've built, right? Ultimately, none of it is mine. I can't take it with me, right? Right? We're all just stewards of the blessings that God gives us.
Right.
Right. And if we're not good stewards, God will take it away.
That is true.
Okay. And so good stewards mean that He's giving us these blessings so that we can then educate and lead other people.
That's true. And that's what I tell my kids. Like, it's not about how much money you have. It's about how much value you can create in the society and do good for people around you. Because at the end of the day, that's what your true worth and your true wealth is the value that you've created around you. And that comes by, sharing what you have, sharing more with people than expecting, in return from people. It's not about what others can do for you, but what you can do for others.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And so, all this technology and everything that I've learned and I was gifted with the ability to understand understand math and understand science as quickly as I can. I see now like how it all comes together in Angel AI, where literally I can take all of this knowledge and all this ability on real estate and finance and building wealth. It's now I can throw it in the AI. I've thrown it into the AI, and everyone can have access. You don't have to spend 10, 20, 30 years of your life learning this stuff. You can just ask the AI and get the answer. Right. So I see that like basically how step by step my life was really being built up to this moment so that I can get this capability out to everybody.
That's awesome, man. That's amazing.
So essentially Angel AI, if anything, is a tool for financial and real estate entrepreneurship. Right? You don't have to go and spend years and years in learning the details about finance and real estate. All those little nuances like that I've learned, I've thrown into the training data set for Angel.
That's amazing. So how can people access Angel AI? What's the website?
It's easy. Just go to to learn more about Angel AI. Go to angelai.com. Okay, and it's a website that explains how it all works and everything. And to actually go into the app, just go to askangel.ai.
Yeah, guys, do not go to angel.ai. Go to askangel.ai.
Yeah, you go to either side. From Angel AI, you can click the first button on top. It takes you to Ask Angel. So, for
Amazing.
example, if you want to get a credit boost, if there's a merchant messing around with your credit score because they marked you late when they shouldn't have or something, go to Ask Angel and ask her to boost your credit. Right? If you want a mortgage, if you're thinking of buying a house, you don't know how much you can afford, or you want the money locked in so that you can shop with confidence, just ask Angel.
That's
Okay, so
amazing.
those are the kind of things that she does. And later this year, we're just around the corner. We're rolling out an insurance product, auto life, and homeowners insurance being rolled out. Also, by the end of the year, we're going to roll out the ability so to your 2025 tax returns, Angel will create your 1040s for you, and it's all for free. Everything Angel does is for free.
That's amazing, man. That is amazing.
Except, the attorneys makes me clarify this. Make sure I clarify this. That everything she does is for free except for the actual financial products. When you tell her, okay, I want an insurance or I want a mortgage, right? Then obviously there's charges associated with those financial products, and that's how we make our money. Right? So we give you lots of free, amazing resources. A great, just to have a conversation, you could learn about, almost anything there. And all the answers that Angel gives are what we call 100% trusted, because and we're the only, as far as I know, we're the only financial services company that can do this because we have the tech to do it. So if you ask Angel, and you give her your documents and she tells you that okay, you qualify for $1 million. Here's a $1 million loan approval so you can buy that house. Okay, we'll stand behind that. So you'll get that $1 million loan approval in minutes of giving her your documents, and you can go put an offer on that house, and essentially say, hey, this money is committed, so I don't have to put a loan contingency. So it's like a cash offer.
Wow.
So it's what we call true approval. So you get a true approval from Angel. It's money good. So like buying a house becomes as easy as swiping a credit card.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that's where we're headed with this. With our, we've just rolled out Angel. Angel has a blockchain wallet, decentralized wallet and built into the app now. So you literally be able to keep that money in your wallet and transfer that from your wallet to the seller, and you own the house.
Yeah, and I know. I saw the app. I saw the wallet when I was there with you. So it's phenomenal. I think the genius behind it is amazing. It's how you have these existing building blocks, kind of coming full circle, and then you have these other pieces around you, and you don't quite know how they're going to fit together. And one fine day you realize, okay, let's just fit these two together, and that's like almost like marriage made in heaven. With the end product being an angel coming out.
Well, so, that's why she's called Angel. It's Angel AI. She's an angel on your shoulder.
Yeah, so it's very phenomenal. It's really impressive.
And what's the most interesting thing about it is as you're chatting with her, and you're having a conversation with the AI, and you're like, you know what? Enough of the AI. I want to talk to a real person, and you just tell her, I want to talk to a human, and one of our executives will join the conversation.
Wow.
So a real human being will join the conversation. And if you really want someone to actually call you, you can say, "Call me," and within a few minutes you'll get a call.
That's amazing, man. That is amazing. Yeah, I saw that and my mind was blown when I was tinkering with it. It is like it's as easy as it gets. You just have to type in stuff. Right. Just like you would use, right. Chat GPT or whatever. It's kind of the same thing.
Well, I say it's like texting your best friend. It's not even Chat GPT. You talk to her like you talk to, your favorite banker, if you have a favorite banker, or right. and imagine if you were texting a human banker. What would you ask? What questions would you have for that person? right? And you talk to Angel in the same way, in the same colloquialisms, same style, and she'll handle it.
That's amazing. Well, anyway, this was a very fun conversation, Pawan. I'm looking forward to meeting you again next week at the F1, and we're going to chat more about this. I know there's some exciting things on the horizon for us, so looking forward to those discussions as well. But thank you so much for taking out the time and coming on the podcast and enlightening everybody about Angel AI, about your journey and how people can get into entrepreneurship and what to expect.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me. This was, and I had fun too. And I actually had fun busting your chops about the FDA. That's the best part of it.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. How do I stop recording? Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to see how to stop this recording because it's not. That's odd. It's not stopping the recording, so I'm gonna end the session. I'm hoping this will go through. Some of the problems with the tech these days, but I think it's already uploaded 99%. So most of it has already been uploaded to the server. So it'll save everything other than maybe the last few seconds of it.
No, when you hit stop, as long as you don't close the window, it'll finish uploading on its own.
Yeah. So I'm not even able to hit stop. Like it's not showing. It's just saying starting underneath it. It's not even saying stop. That's the problem. That's why I'm having to end the session because there's no way for me to stop this. I don't know why this problem is with Riverside. Even though I used to use another platform before this, and then I just switched to Riverside because people said this is better. And
that's what we use too, is Riverside.
You use Riverside, okay. All right.